Welcome to Pop Culture Roulette for all your pop culture needs. We're America's podcast. Welcome everybody. We are here at full strength again today. We're joined by Jeremy.
Yo.
And Justin.
Howdy.
All right, everybody.
How you sinking?
There's like maybe one person listening to this podcast who gets that reference. I'm not even sure Justin gets that reference.
No.
Okay. Free get him. Free get them.
Yeah.
All right. So, in an effort to actually be more responsive to our fans now that we're in episode like 120 something, we actually are going to do the bracket for the person who won the March Madness bracket before February.
Oh, this is a fan bracket?
Yeah, this is the guy who won. This is the guy who won the March Madness bracket. He wanted us to do. At first, he said best comic book, and then he changed his mind to worst comic book. Not comic book. Wow, I'm on the wrong podcast. The best video game movie, and then he changed it to worst video game movie. And I'm glad he did, because there'd be a lot of movies that would be on the bracket the same, because there's not a lot of video game movies. There's only about 50, so there's not.
Still seems like a lot.
Well, compared to what is coming down the pipe, when we redo this in like 5 years, I think, or 6 years, it'll probably be a lot easier.
We're just going to be recycling old material.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. We'll shut it back down and restart back over at 1 in a couple years.
Yeah, then we'll have like we'll do a bracket for best episodes.
Yeah.
I left off animated movies because, well, most of the animated movies were just far superior to the live action ones, and there's really not a lot of them, so it was just easier to leave off the animated ones. I left off direct to video streaming ones, so this is basically just movies that had a very short run, or theoretically a run in the movie theaters, which is surprising for a couple of them. So maybe it aired, it had a showing in like one theater somewhere in like Buenos Aires or something. I don't know. Much like the Stoner movie bracket, these are some of the lowest scores, but at least this time they're supposed to be low, because we are talking about the worst comic book bracket. I do it.
Good Lord.
I don't know why I want to keep saying comic book instead of video game, but I was mainly going off of, I started with a list on vulture.com, which was one of the dumbest fucking lists of all time. It had the Super Mario Brothers 93, the live action one, at 4 for best video game movie of all time. Yes.
Best?
Yeah. And it had Super Mario Brothers, the one that came out last year, at 23.
The animated one?
Yes.
That's a good-ass movie.
It was. It was like, I think you meant to reverse those two, right?
Yeah.
It also had Street Fighter, the Jean-Claude Van Damme one, at number 8.
Jeez.
Entertainment Weekly's list was a little bit more realistic. It had Super Mario 93 at 1 and Street Fighter at number 2 for worst movies of all time. So if you don't want to take our opinion for it, and who knows what we're going to come up with, because this list gets crazy. I'm not going to lie. There are some really interesting ones. Couple that I didn't know. All right. So the lowest score is 34.
Is that with one in every category at least?
That one is, yes, that one had one in every category. And the cutoff was 142 for anything that had a score above 142 didn't make the bracket, because that's where my where the bracket builder HQ that we use stops us at 32 unless I start paying for it, and I didn't want to, so that's where it is. So the following movies aren't going to be on this bracket: Resident Evil: The Final Chapter at 142, Monster Hunter at 143. Somehow Uncharted got 148, so not on the worst list. Prince of Persia, Rampage, the Mortal Kombat that came out in 21, the Tomb Raider that the three of us went and saw together in 2018.
Geez. That was
Yes, but it had a 163. Mortal Kombat, the first Mortal Kombat, the one in 95, is not on the list. Neither of the Sonics, which were not surprising. Gran Turismo, Detective Pikachu, and something called Werewolves Within.
All right, I know the game. I didn't know it was a movie.
Yes, I didn't know that the movie or the game existed until today. It had a 212, so it had a really high score. I watched the movie because I was like, I got time. Why not? It's not bad. It's not very good, but I also didn't know the game existed until today either. So, yeah.
All right. What about Madden?
Madden, they've never made a movie about. They have a live action TV show about Madden, and I left TV adaptations off the list. Maybe one day we'll do.
Yeah. Next, after the end of the year, we'll do a bracket for the top 18 games of the year for the Packers. We'll rank them.
Oh, well, hopefully it will be a very, very good list, and it'll be like, they're all number one.
Yeah.
All right. I did, however, have to break the no sequel rule because I needed to fill out to 32. And I do believe, based on how I think one of you is going to react, I know the answer to most of those sequels are going to be. So, with that being said, we will start off with number one, according to the critics. The worst comic book movie was Alone in the Dark. It had a 2.4 on IMDb, a 1 on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 9 on Metacritic. And that brings me to my first extra point. Uwe Boll, a favorite of ours, we've talked about him many times, not so much on the new version in the last 120 episodes or so, but I know in the old episodes, for those of you who have been around for a while, you would have heard him, has 6 movies on this list, all of them in the top 10 of lowest scores.
Good job.
Okay, so remembering that we are voting for the worst movie, so the one we think is worst, not the one we like better. So, I mean, I feel like I know how this vote's going to go.
You never gave us the second option.
I know I'm getting there.
I was like, I know how this vote's going to go. Like, I don't even know what I'm going against.
Well, because I know your feelings on this movie. We have Alone in the Dark versus Resident Evil.
Oh.
Slam dunk.
I don't think I've ever seen Alone in the Dark.
It's not worth seeing.
I'm not sure I have either, but it only has a 34. Yeah, it only has a 34. And it had all 3 categories. There are some movies on this list that don't and had higher scores. So what do we think the worst of them is going to... Now, I know how you feel about Resident Evil. You actually like that movie, correct?
I don't mind the first one. I wish they would have stuck more to the video games.
That's going to be the argument we have with most of all 32 of these movies.
Yeah, if not all. I've never even seen the other one, though.
Just trust that it's bad.
Trust the process. Since I don't hate the Resident Evil movie, I'm going to vote that one is better. So Alone in the Dark, it's my vote, even though I've never seen it.
All right, yeah, that's where I'm not sure I've seen Alone in the Dark either. I feel like I tried to watch it once, or if I did, it was so bad I don't remember it. But yeah, it is. It's
Who's
getting
in it?
Christian Slater, I think.
And Tara Reid.
Well, there you go. That should tell you anything you need to know right there.
All right.
So
yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Alone in the Dark is the worst of those 2 movies. All right, this one's going to be a little bit more entertaining to vote for. Number 17, Super Mario Brothers, with a score of 106 versus Doom with a score of 104.
Ooh.
Which one is worse, Doom or Super Mario Brothers?
Jeremy, you want to kick us off?
That's tough. I'd say Doom's worse because
go on.
Mario, at least, like, if you go back and watch it again, like not having those expectations that it's going to be like some whimsical live action fun adventure, and you watch it through the lens of like this is like a cyberpunk weird interpretation, then it's fine. It's a fine movie. It was a great casting. I mean, John Leguizamo is a fucking perfect Luigi, and the Mario is Hoskins, great. But Doom is like they just totally missed the mark. It's like, what the fuck, man? There was one great scene where it was first person, and that was it.
The cast of Doom wasn't that bad either, though. With
I
like
feel,
the Rock
yeah,
and Carl Urban.
yeah.
Is it Urban? Urbane?
Urban.
Yeah, I was right the first time. I think Mario's worse.
All right. So when I was in high school, I had my first knee surgery. And the day I had my knee surgery,
Humble brag.
yeah, I'm bragging about having knee surgery.
The first time.
Um, and the day I got home from the surgery, because I couldn't walk, I had been rented a bunch of movies, and one of them was Super Mario Brothers, and I thought it was awesome. It was great. Um, Then I saw it again later when I was not under the influence of copious amounts of surgery drugs. And I was like, oh, this movie is awful. Um, I've never watched it again with the lens that Jeremy just suggested. So I only have the lens of my goodness, this was awful. It also has the distinction of being the first live action direct video game adaptation movie.
And they killed it.
I watched Doom once and I didn't hate it. So I think I'm gonna have to vote for Mario.
I saw Doom in theaters.
Me too.
I think I did too.
I hated it. But I'm not sad about Mario moving on. So, I mean,
All right.
it's not good. It's not a good movie. Like Dennis Hopper as King Koopa. Like, what are you fucking high?
I think there were a lot of people who were high when they were watching that movie. Yes.
Watching and making.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Wing Commander with a score of 74 versus Resident Evil Retribution, which had a score of 120.
Which one is Retribution? I can't remember.
I'm going to need Justin to weigh in on which one Retribution is. I don't remember the order of the Resident Evil movies.
I gotta look up which one Retribution is. Let me see the cover. Fourth one, I think.
Okay.
Oh, that's one of that's 2012. That's one of the later ones. That's I think when you.
I'm gonna start the voting
off. That's
off.
the fifth one.
I'm gonna start the voting off for this one. I went and saw Wing Commander in theaters because yes, I am that old. It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in the theater. I was angry about having gone and seen this movie. I thought it would be fun. I thought it would be great. Walked out of the theater. It's one of the few movies that I was like, I should go ask for my money back. Like this was awful. I don't remember Resident Evil Retribution. I know I saw it, but I don't remember it. So I'm going to say that because of that, Wing Commander is worse.
I have seen every Resident Evil in the theater. I don't particularly like that they don't follow the story, but I don't hate the movies except for one of them, which I'm sure we'll get to on this list. Yeah. So I'll agree with you. I've never seen it, but I'll agree that it's probably a worse movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Wing Commander.
Wing Commander is moving on. All right.
They're so bad that we haven't even watched them.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple on here that like I didn't even know existed until today. All right. Also with a score of 120, Five Nights at Freddy's, which I was kind of
new one.
Yeah, which is why I'm kind of surprised. I thought people really liked it, so I was surprised that the ratings had it that low. But it's going up against another Uwe Boll movie, In the Name of the King, The Dragon Siege Tale.
Okay.
Statham movie?
I haven't seen that one.
Was that the first
that was,
one or the second one?
That was the second one was direct to video, so only the first one was so it had a really randomly it had Jason Statham and Burt Reynolds and it had a ridiculous
Is Hellboy in that one?
I
can't think of his name.
Ron Perlman. Yeah, it had a cast that a movie like that shouldn't have had in it, directed by Uwe Boll. I've not seen Five Nights at Freddy's, but I have seen In the Name of the King.
I didn't hate Five Nights at Freddy's. It
Okay.
was it was kind of predictable, but it wasn't bad. Like it's one of those I would consider watching again. And since would have no problem, like if it was on and I was just like, "Oh, all right, what the hell?" I wouldn't turn it off. Name of the King came on, I'm walking away turning it off. That one gets my vote for which one of those two is worse.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. I haven't seen either, but in a dilemma like this, I'm just going to point my compass towards Uwe Boll.
All right. I was surprised that Five Nights at Freddy was that low because I know that a lot of people really loved that movie. Like when it came out, like it was getting a lot of like hype and love for being a good movie. So I was
It's
shocked to
it's
see it.
not bad.
Yeah, I was shocked to see it be at number 25 on the list. So,
It's no
but
Willy's Wonderland, but it's still good.
all right, now we have the only Mortal Kombat movie to make the worst list, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, with a score of 51 versus Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City with a score of 126.
Oh, that's the standalone one. That one's trash.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh God.
I will tell you though, when I was doing a taping with moving panels yesterday, and I brought up the fact that I was making this bracket, everybody who was on the podcast immediately was like, "Worst video game, Mortal Kombat Annihilation." So
I would still put that one worse than the Resident Evil movie. Apparently, I don't hate the Resident Evil movies that much.
I will be shocked if any of the Resident Evil movies move out of the first round, but that's
Yeah, Mortal Kombat. Nicholas, do you agree?
I would
Clean,
agree absolutely.
clean,
But
clean
I,
sweeping it.
I've never seen that particular Resident Evil movie, but I would assume that it has to be better than Annihilation. All right. Continuing on with our Resident Evil theme, Resident Evil Afterlife versus Silent Hill Revelation.
Is that the second one?
The second one, yes.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
It has a score of 85. Afterlife has a score of 116.
Which
Afterlife is the one in the prison.
Okay.
Okay.
I did see that
when
one.
they tried to make that 3D, I
Yeah.
believe,
I liked that one. That one was
Yeah.
not bad.
because that's the one with Wentworth Miller as Chris.
J.G. Wentworth.
Yeah, J.G. Wentworth.
Yeah, that
Structured
wasn't
settlement.
bad. That wasn't a bad one at all.
So I guess based off of that alone, like I guess because I never bothered to watch Silent Hill Revelation, and I didn't hate Afterlife, I'm gonna vote Silent Hill as the worst one.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I saw both Silent Hills in theaters, but I don't remember the second one at all.
Okay. I swear I didn't plan this out. I just realized it right now because I didn't pay attention when I was writing the bracket. I was just entering in numbers. Hitman Agent 47
Nice.
with a score of 93 versus Hitman with a score of 113.
Oh,
So
that's
do you
funny.
prefer the Josh Duhamel one or the not Josh Duhamel one?
Who was the other Hitman? It was him. He was good. I liked the first Hitman.
That's not Timothy, whatever.
Yeah,
his name
yeah,
is,
Oliphant.
Oliphant.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
was
the,
great.
the first Hitman is a good movie.
Yeah. It
Oh,
doesn't
wait, am
belong
I
anywhere.
wrong? Was it Oliphant, not Duhamel?
Well,
You
Oliphant
could've-
was the first Hitman. I don't know who
Yeah.
the other Hitman was. So I just assumed that's who you meant was the
Yeah,
other one.
I thought I trusted you.
Okay, so I was definitely wrong. I get Oliphant and Duhamel mixed up. All right,
I don't-
Agent 47 was Rupert Friend.
Oh,
Okay.
doesn't
Is that-
sound like he's a friend of this show.
Nope.
And not anymore. And
Piss
Zachary
off, Rupert.
Quinto. Hitman was yeah, you guys I mean you of course were right. Oliphant and Doug Ray Scott.
Yeah,
Okay.
that one wasn't bad.
Yeah, it doesn't belong on this bracket.
I mean, if you go based on it following the video game, sure, it's a bad movie. It's bad,
They got references in there.
but the movie
There was a lot of
itself-
Hitman contracts shit in there, actually.
The movie itself as a standalone, not a bad movie.
Yeah.
So we're voting Agents 47.
47.
We're voting the sequel then? Okay.
Yep, sequel's worse.
I mean, they did the entire hotel police escape from contracts. That was like directly taken from that game. I thought, unless I'm wrong. Maybe it was just like seeing homages where they weren't supposed to be.
You
But I was
could-
like, this
you
is
could,
totally.
I mean, you could be right too that it's from the game.
All right. Resident Evil Extinction with a 29, so it's got a 127 versus another Uwe Boll, Far Cry,
Oh my God.
44.
Oh,
Which I didn't even know they had made a Far. I'd been like, when are they ever going to make a Far Cry movie? People love that series. Apparently they did, and
Yeah.
I didn't know they did. And it has 44. It has a total of 44.
have you seen that one, Jeremy?
I've seen Far Cry. Yeah, it's bad.
It's not good. That's the worst Resident Evil 2. That's the one in the desert.
Yeah, this is a tough battle.
Yeah, that Resident Evil movie is garbage.
Okay, well, is Resident Evil going to move on in this one for the first time?
I've never
Or
seen the Far Cry movie, so I'm gonna have to see what Jeremy's thinking here.
I'm gonna vote Resident Evil just because that should have been better. With you, Uwe Boll, we've got expectations, but this was like a big budget Hollywood for the other two were decent, so it's like this should be fine, but it was awful. Desert Convoy, no good.
All right, I'll agree with Jeremy.
okay, all right. So Resident Evil
That
Extinction
is the worst one. That's the desert one.
okay. I am shocked. I didn't think any Resident Evil movie would be moving on, but here we are.
Maybe I'll rewatch the Resident Evils.
Okay. Now we're on to oh, gotta love it when what is number 3? House of the Dead. Ooh, another Uwe Boll movie
Bad.
versus Warcraft,
Oh, haven't
which
seen
was 30, so it barely made the list. It was a 128.
I didn't hate Warcraft.
it. It looked pretty epic.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool scenes in there since I never played the games or nothing.
Right. I never played
Is
the
it
game either.
games or is it game?
I'm not sure.
Games?
Warcraft is one of those MMORPGs, right?
Could be.
Yeah. Well, there's like Warcraft and World of Warcraft and StarCraft and
Minecraft.
Minecraft. But I think
Huh.
aren't
Witch-
StarCraft
witch-
and Warcraft in the
witchcraft.
same universe?
Probably, but I
think
don't
they're-
know for a fact.
I don't know either.
So are we going to vote for Warcraft, or are we going to vote for another Uwe Boll movie and House of the Dead?
Uwe Boll and House of the Dead. Did you see the Warcraft movie, Nicholas?
I did not. I was going through my IMDb list today when I was just looking at these movies, and apparently I saw House of the Dead and I rated it, but I don't remember watching it.
I didn't watch it, but I did watch Warcraft, and I didn't hate Warcraft.
House of the Dead.
House of the Dead it is. Okay. All right. Assassin's Creed with a 19 with a 112 versus Street Fighter. The one with Jean-Claude Van Damme had a 95.
That movie's awful.
It is awful.
What is it?
You got
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's
Oh.
Creed, which I never saw
Assassin's Creed.
because I didn't play the game, so I wasn't super interested in the movie. But I do remember going to see Street Fighter in the theaters and not loving it.
I remember seeing Assassin's Creed in the theaters and thinking, well, that could have been better.
Whoever thought Raul Julia should be M. Bison? Well, what the hell? Like, what was the? You know what? When I saw Addams Family and I saw Gomez, I went, the main bad guy in Street Fighter.
These stupid choices.
I'm gonna say Street Fighter's still worse.
Okay, that's kind of where
I saw Assassin's Creed in theater. That one was like it had potential. It's a good series.
that's one of those that I think, I've heard a lot of things about. Like, I've played a few minutes here and there of Assassin's Creed, but like the story is super interesting, and that could make for a good movie. I just don't know why they didn't choose to make a good movie when they made that one. All right, Double Dragon has a 77 versus Resident Evil Apocalypse, which has a 116.
Double Dragon.
Which one's Double Dragon?
Oh, that came out around the same time the Street Fighter did, and people try to pretend it didn't happen. But I remember. I always remember.
I don't know which one that is.
Jimmy and Jimmy. Billy and Jimmy.
It was after like
was-
Mario Brothers came out, there was just like this rush of like, we gotta make video game movies. And that was one of them, and it was bad.
I'll take your word for it. I've never seen it.
Which one was Apocalypse?
The second one is Apocalypse.
Okay. I don't remember hating that one, so I'm gonna vote Double Dragon.
Double Dragon.
Is it Apocalypse is the one with Nemesis, right?
I think so.
Yeah, where it brings out the Nemesis, and I think
Yeah.
Mike Epps is in there with his gold gun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I see. All right, now we've got number 27, Need for Speed with a 126 versus another Uwe Boll movie, Blood Rain with a whole
Oh,
52.
I don't think I ever seen the Need for Speed movie,
Is that the Aaron Paul one?
Correct.
I didn't think I saw that either.
I
So
did not
Uwe
either,
Boll.
but I saw Blood Rain.
and it was awful.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think most times if they make movies that are like based with, I've noticed with like Cars, Fast, Furious, all that stuff. I've never watched any of those. Like
One
if
of
it's
the
all if it's the Cars, I'm like, I'm not interested.
one of these days, I will make you sit down and watch the Fast and Furious franchise with me.
That's a lot of movies.
It is. We're going to spend a lot of time together. Okay. Now we have another Street Fighter movie, Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, with a whole of 57 versus Lara Croft Tomb Raider: The Cradle of Life, the second Angelina
The
Jolie
second one,
That one had a 122.
Uh, I I thought both of those. Well, was there only two Angelina Jolie ones?
Correct.
yes.
I thought they were both pretty decent enough. I mean, they could have been a lot better, but I'm gonna be voting for the other thing.
Okay. The
Yeah,
Street Fighter
yeah,
Chun-Li movie. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I never seen the Street Fighter one.
So which one? Who are you voting for?
Where's your opinion going here,
I
Nicholas?
think I was going to vote Chun-Li. I didn't necessarily like the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movies, but the Chun-Li one was really bad.
All right, works for me.
All right. This one I don't think deserves to be on the list, but it had a really low score. DOA, Dead or Alive, 119 versus yet another Uwe Boll movie, Postal,
Oh,
number 10 with a score of 76.
Which one?
Postal. I don't know why I choose to do these things to myself, but I also watched Postal today.
you watched that? Oh my God.
It's on Tubi. So I
have
didn't
it on
pay.
DVD.
I did not pay for it. It is awful. It is. It's like a bunch of middle schoolers got together and we're just like, well, let's try to make a movie that's funny, and all they know is dick and fart jokes.
Well, it's actually a great adaptation because that's how the game is too.
I do know that people's problem with DOA is that it is nothing like the video game. But I really like the movie. It's one that I have on DVD. I will be voting for Postal because that movie was garbage.
Yeah, I agree. Even as much as I like Zach Ward, but even he couldn't do anything for that
No, he
movie.
couldn't save that movie.
All right.
I also didn't appreciate the Dave Foley dick scene.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Didn't necessarily want to see the kids in the hall, one of the kids in the hall
Oh.
naked, but well, unfortunately, I've watched a lot of kids in the hall, so I think I've seen them all naked at this point. But all right, then. So Postal is moving forward as the worst movie.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know how either of you feel about this movie, but I feel like we've talked about it. Max Payne with a whole 100 versus the first Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movie, Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
I think Max Payne might be slightly worse. It's another one
Yeah,
that it had potential.
that was Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was too bad. They could have done a lot more here, but I'm
Okay.
gonna have to vote for that too.
Okay. Max Payne it is. I was going to vote for Tomb Raider, but it doesn't matter. Max Payne moves on.
Do you think Tomb Raider's worse than Max Payne?
I remember watching both of them, but I only remember really hating Tomb Raider. I don't remember Max Payne at all. Now this one,
That's bad when that's the standard of like I don't remember this one, but I know I hated that one.
all right. Now this one, Silent Hill, 31 with a score of 129 versus a movie I did not know existed until today, but managed to come in at a whopping 2 with a score of 37, Dead Trigger.
Don't even know what that is.
Nah, I don't know what that is.
But
Never
I'm gonna
heard
vote
it.
for it.
I didn't even know the game existed, let alone they made a movie out of it. So,
Yeah, I didn't know that game existed either. What's that game?
but you kind of liked the first Silent Hill movie, didn't you?
I
Okay.
enjoyed it
was
quite a bit.
Yeah, first one wasn't bad.
Okay. All right. So Dead Trigger moves on then. All
What
right.
is this game? Zombie themed video game.
Oh, how original.
Released on iOS and Android.
Literally, they made a game based on well, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, they've made how many Mortal Kombat movies and until there wasn't really a storyline with that one or Street
yeah, but
Fighter.
that wasn't based on like a mobile game.
True.
That's what
They-
I was referring to.
Oh, also, I didn't put Tetris on this on this list because while it was about a game, not based on the game.
That wouldn't have moved on anyways. That's not a
No,
bad movie.
because I'm not even sure it would have been low enough on the list to make the bottom 32. I didn't include any of the documentaries, so
I should probably cash
Get some dead
32,000 points. I never use Bing, but apparently I do.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
Dead Trigger.
You're gonna buy Dead Trigger.
Dead
All
Trigger.
right, so now we're moving on to the next round. We've got Alone in the Dark versus Super Mario Brothers. Remember, this is the live action one, not the animated one. The animated one would have been really high on the list had I included animated, so it wouldn't have been on the bottom 32 anyway.
Yeah.
Alone in the Dark. I still haven't seen it, but I've seen the other Mario one, and I don't really think that's going to be worse.
Okay.
I think I have to agree.
Okay. All right. Alone in the
Even
Dark it
though-
is.
Jeremy and I are starting to become alone in the dark here.
All right then. Wing Commander versus In the Name of the King.
Ooh.
So what's your take on this, Nicholas? Because you've seen both.
I have. There's still memories of when I was in college coming out of the theater with Wing Commander just being so god awful that I think I have to vote for Wing Commander. I rented In the Name of the King, and I remember going, why does this movie exist? But I hated Wing Commander.
All right. I own In the Name of the King on DVD.
We own, as a group, between the three of us, own a lot of really bad movies.
We do.
Yeah.
I think I bought it because it was a Jason Statham movie.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like, I don't know if I think I can only think of one Jason Statham movie where I was like, I'm mad I saw this.
Don't say it.
It's not on this list, but it was no, okay, all right, no, it wasn't that one.
Okay, good.
I forgot about that one until you, Craig. No, it wasn't Crank. It was like London something or
I
where
think I
like
know what you're talking
like he
about.
had hair and
Yeah.
and it wasn't like an action movie, like it was like him trying to be serious. Yeah, anyway, but that's for the Jason Statham podcast that
Oh.
Justin will do a bracket for eventually.
All right. That wasn't Lock, Stock, and Barrel, was it? Which one did?
No, that was a good movie. I liked Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
All right, we're gonna go.
So, all right, so we're voting Wing Commander on that one then?
Yeah.
Wing
Okay.
Commander.
All right, the first Mortal Kombat movie versus Silent Hill Revelation.
I would assume that the first Mortal Kombat has to be worse, but I
No,
have
wait,
seen
no,
Revelation.
actually, I'm sorry. That's not the first Mortal Kombat movie. I wrote it down wrong. I should have wrote down an A there. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the second
Wait,
Mortal Kombat
okay,
movie,
okay.
versus Silent Hill Revelation.
Revelation. There's too many weird subtitles to these movies. And Revelation, I think they use that for other movies
And
that have come up in this.
I
Revelations, and then there's Revelation.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of that Silent Hill movie, like I said, but I still think the other one.
I think
Okay.
Mortal Kombat is worse.
Yeah.
Right. Going with the fact that we remember how bad that one is, and we don't even remember that Revelation existed until today.
Yeah.
Okay, Hitman Agent 47 versus Resident Evil Extinction.
Hitman.
Oh, why you got to do that to me?
I mean,
Guess
Extinction's bad, but
I think I'm just going with how I've been voting on what I remember watching. I'm gonna have to go Extinction because you said that was the one in the desert, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Desert Convoy.
yeah. I remember it being like, "What? Maybe I'm done with the Resident Evil franchise now." So,
With Kmart.
all right, House of the
So
Dead,
wait, which one moved down?
Resident Evil, because Jeremy voted for it and I voted for it. So,
Oh.
unless I misunderstood Jeremy's vote.
Nope.
Okay,
That's
all
right.
He's quick. Nope.
All right. House of the Dead. So the Uwe Boll marathon keeps going versus Street Fighter, the first one with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh,
I never seen House of the Dead.
they're, both of these movies are just.
I mean, you're voting for shit. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's one. Which pile of shit do you think smells a little worse?
Yeah.
I like Jean-Claude Van Damme movies as a whole, so I'm gonna go with Uwe Boll.
Okay,
Good choice.
all right. House of the Dead.
He hasn't impressed me yet.
House of the Dead. It is all right. Double Dragon, a movie that Justin didn't know existed until today, versus Uwe Boll's Blood Rain.
Movie I do know exists, and a couple sequels,
Yeah.
but the sequels didn't make the list on this one.
No, because they were direct to video.
Hmm.
And I think they were more sequels based off of the movie than the video game. So,
Well, hate to keep crapping on Uwe Boll, but
all right. I
he
mean,
really makes it easy.
he does make it real easy, especially when he put 6 movies in the top 10, and not in a good way, not like a Martin Scorsese or like Steven Spielberg. Like,
Wait till we do the Uwe Boll bracket.
I don't know if I have the patience to do an Uwe Boll bracket. All right, so
this is one.
Oh, this is the Uwe Boll bracket.
Pretty
So Blood
much,
Rain
yeah.
is moving on. All right. Well, let's just keep rolling with us shitting on Uwe Boll.
All right.
Street Fighter Legends of Chun-Li or Postal.
Yeah. It is hard to fault Postal because from an adaptation standpoint, that is exactly what it should have been. But it sucks. I mean, it's not good. Postal, I guess. But they're both so bad. What do you guys think?
I haven't seen either of these two movies.
I mean, hiring Kristen Krug to be Chun-Li was kind of a mistake to begin with.
Yeah.
But Postal, maybe recency bias is happening here because I just watched it a few hours ago.
Yeah.
It was bad.
It's okay. All right.
So I think Postal is moving on for me.
Postal.
All right.
I like the ones that I haven't seen, so I don't have to contribute.
All right. Max Payne versus a movie we didn't know existed until a few minutes ago, Dead Trigger.
Yeah, I didn't know that movie, and it's based off a phone game.
Okay.
So Dead Trigger gets my vote.
So Dead Trigger gets your vote.
I don't want to make Wahlberg mad.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I do not want to make him mad either. He'll potentially blind me.
All right then. I guess we're voting for Dead Trigger then.
Well, it's crazy. I might have to go watch it now.
Let me see what it's on here.
All right. Alone in the Dark. So, man, Uwe Boll has 6 movies on this list, and so far he has 4 still in the running, and we're in the final 8. So, all right. So, Alone in the Dark versus Wing Commander.
Oh, God. 2 movies I haven't seen.
I'm going to reach out to, well, it's not going to happen fast enough for my liking, so I'm not going to do that, but it would have been a good shtick. Anyways,
you're going to phone a friend?
I was going to reach out to a special celebrity to answer that vote, but I don't think it would have happened quick enough, so I'll just say Alone in the Dark.
Okay, so what
did I say the first time? Wing Commander or Alone in the Dark? I don't even remember. They're just so Alone in the Dark. That's my final answer.
And that's who you voted for, Justin?
Sure.
You can vote for whoever you want.
I don't have an opinion in this. Okay. I have no horse in this race.
Okay, all right then.
I just know Uwe Boll's bad.
Okay, well, yeah, and Alone in the Dark was the worst score at 34. So, I mean, okay. Mortal Kombat Annihilation versus Resident Evil Extinction.
Mortal Kombat.
I was going to vote Mortal Kombat as well.
Okay, Mortal Kombat.
All right. So now we're down to basically what's going to be probably an Uwe Boll off. House of the Dead versus Blood Rain.
Never seen House of the Dead.
As a reminder, House of the Dead had 39 and Blood Rain had 52. So Blood Rain was Christina Loken. So at least that had it going for it.
That's true.
Yeah.
House of the Dead was
Oh, hey, I would say House of the Dead.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've never seen it.
Okay. House of the Dead.
House of the Dead. I like when you look up House of the Dead, it says the related titles are Alone in the Dark and The Hottie and the Naughty.
Oh,
Don't see how quite those two things are related, but
Well, one makes sense, the other one doesn't.
yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Now, are we going to vote for Uwe Boll and Postal, or a movie that we're going to probably have to force ourselves to watch, Dead Trigger?
I just looked up Dead Trigger to see what it's streaming on, which it says YouTube and Prime, but it's a Dolph Lundgren movie.
Okay.
So that I will actually watch this one if I find it. So I'm going to vote Postal.
Okay.
I like the 80s style action movies, and it's an action horror movie.
Okay. That's fair enough. I'll vote for Postal then.
Postal it is. All right. All right. I kind of see how this is going. Alone in the Dark, Uwe Boll. By the way, Uwe Boll has three of the final four.
Oh, good grief.
Alone in the Dark, Uwe Boll versus Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I at this point I'm gonna force myself to vote for the movie I've actually seen of the two of them.
Okay.
I know that Alone in the Dark gets a lot of crap, and it has a 34, but Mortal Kombat Annihilation was awful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen Mortal Kombat, and it's bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right then. Once again, in an Uwe Boll off, House of the Dead versus Postal.
Oh.
Now, Uwe Boll, like I'm looking at some of his movies, and like, we talked about it with The Name of the King. He's got Jason Statham and Burt Reynolds and a couple other highly regarded actors in that movie. Postal, maybe not highly regarded, but had J.K. Simmons, Zach Ward, Vern
Er,
Troyer, yeah, Dave Foley.
Hmm.
And I was like, how does he get these people to show up? Because by the time he did Postal, we all knew he was not good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty crazy to think that he was still doing that. I mean, the only thing I can think of with Postal again, I mentioned this earlier, but like just based on the fact that like maybe people thought like he would be the good person to do it because it is supposed to be so crude and fucked up, and because that really is that game is just so juvenile. So maybe people are like, all right, I'll give Uwe Boll one more chance with this one.
Okay. So at this point, then we're now voting for the worst video game adaptation with House of the Dead, which is a zombie game. It was not a very good movie. Postal, while not a good movie, you're saying is somewhat faithful to the video game.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, or how are we going to vote here? Are we going to vote House of the Dead, or are we going to vote Postal?
I'm gonna go over House of the Dead.
Okay.
if you're saying that's how that game is, then that's spot on. That's
Okay.
not a bad English words. That's not a bad adaptation. God, I can't say it now.
Adaptation.
Thank you.
All right. So House of
Why
the
I
Dead.
didn't go to college.
All right, so it is not a complete Uwe Boll final. The final is Mortal Kombat Annihilation versus House of the Dead.
Annihilation is so bad. I've never seen House of the Dead. Has
I,
anyone actually seen that movie?
I've seen House of the Dead.
I saw House of the Dead. I don't really remember it.
I
I
think I'm
think
gonna, yeah.
I think we know how we're somehow, even though he put six movies on this list and he had three of them in the final four, he didn't lose.
Not the worst.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation wins for worst video game adaptation movie.
Yeah.
All right, so congratulations to Brett. You have won your bracket. You won your March Madness by beating Justin and I in the tournament.
I took second.
I hope you're
Yeah.
happy.
And then you made us watch. Well, you didn't make us watch movies, but some of us just chose to watch bad movies because we like to torture
Our
ourselves.
life.
Um,
I'm a failure.
now, with Borderlands coming out, do you think this list would change at all,
I
or do you think that Borderlands will?
I think it's going to rate high enough where it wouldn't make the cut.
Okay.
Because
That's
with the
fair.
people in it and probably a lot of the special effects, it's probably going to be very visually appealing movie, so I don't think it'll rate as low as some of these
All
earlier
right.
ones. Like when did Annihilation come out?
I didn't write down the
97.
years for any of them, so.
What year?
97.
Now, I was shocked when I was doing it. Had I cheated and moved some numbers around or left certain movies off just to make it where I could have seeded the bracket a little better, how deep into this bracket would have Uncharted made it for you?
I never seen it.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you
No,
did.
no.
Oh,
I
It depends what it's going against too.
okay. Because I watched Uncharted and it was boring. Like it wasn't a bad movie. It just wasn't good. Like it was just kind of like, I mean, I still want to play the game based on the way you two and some other people have talked about it. But the movie was for having Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg in it. Like I was kind of like, wow, I can't believe it was this boring.
uh,
If you would have changed the character names and called it something else, I think it would be the same movie because it has some Uncharted scenes in it, like feels to it.
uh-huh.
But yeah, it's just it could have been anything else, and you still wouldn't have even thought it was like the video game, other than like a couple scenes here and there.
Yeah.
Too
I
bad.
mean, like I didn't have either of you watched the Gran Turismo movie yet?
No.
No, I don't
Okay.
watch movies about cars. I don't even watch Cars. I've seen the first one.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised that the first Mortal Kombat movie had such a high score at 165. Um, and to
Yeah.
give you an idea, Sonic had 175 and Sonic 2 had 181. So then they were high, but they were not. I thought they'd be higher. The highest score was 212 with that movie Werewolves Within. But if I had watched that movie, I would not have known it was a video game adaptation. There was at no point was it like referencing the video game at all. It wasn't a bad movie, but they tried to like say it was like it was like said it was in the style of Clue, and so maybe because I love Clue, like I love
Ah,
that movie,
Uh-huh.
so I went into it maybe going in with slightly higher expectations. Um, I don't think Werewolves Within deserves to be the number one video game movie right now, with based on the numbers. I would have put one of the two.
Mario.
One of the two. Well, I'd left the animated ones off, but that one would have been number one. Yes, I would have put one of the two Sonic movies. Or honestly, at 157, I think Rampage is kind of low. Like I thought Rampage was pretty good.
Okay.
I mean, granted, you're also taking a really weak story, like
Yeah,
from
yeah.
a video game, and building in like basically turning it into Godzilla. And you know how I feel about like the kaiju, Godzilla movies anyway. So yeah, but I was also surprised to see that the Prince of Persia movie had a 152. I thought it would be way way lower, um, based on the fact that Jake Gyllenhaal was the main character.
Yeah.
So
Fair. Yeah. I
you
mean,
know, I thought you liked that Tomb Raider movie with Alicia Vikander.
I didn't hate it,
Okay,
but
because I
I
remember.
The whole bike scene was stupid and unnecessary.
Okay,
yeah,
I
it took
will.
them way too long to get to the fucking point, to get to
Okay,
the temple.
so I've seen it. I thought because the three of us went and saw that one in the theater together, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it was a good time. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't hate it, but I just think yeah, there was
Okay.
definitely some parts that
All
like I
right.
didn't
I
enjoy.
I probably should have thought of this question before right now, so I could have like given you some time to prepare. What video games are out there right now that haven't been adapted yet, or we don't know? Like they might be working on it. We don't know. The only thing I know for a fact that's coming down the pipeline is Borderlands. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure there's some other stuff. Well, guaranteed there's some.
yeah.
Um, what video game are we like? Man, I'd love to see this one adapted. Or are there any of them that we'd love for them to like? Obviously, Max Payne could have been way better. Uncharted could
Hmm.
have been way better.
Hmm.
Um, any of the 32 could or should have been better.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Um, I think Splinter Cell, and they've been talking about this with Tom Hardy for a long time, but
Okay.
that's probably not going to happen. But I would love to see a Splinter Cell movie. I think it lends itself really, really nicely to an action film. It's Tom Clancy, so he's got a good handle on how to write a spy thriller.
Yeah, yeah. That would probably be good. And since it is their source, I don't know what the source material for the video game because he did that for like he wrote it or helped develop it for the video game. It wasn't like they took one of his books and turned it into a video game.
Right, right,
Okay, all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So yeah, that could work. That could be a really good one.
Any of the Tom Clancy stuff, really, even like
Per
Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
Perfect Dark.
Yeah, fuck yeah, Perfect
Uh,
Dark.
for
Yeah.
me, it's God of War.
Oh, that would be a good one.
That
Mhm.
would there's a lot of stuff they could do with it based on the games. They could start it at one and work their way up, or even just start with him having Atreus.
Hmm. Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
I thought they were
Well,
supposed to make a series for that.
Yeah, I've heard that too. That the TV series was coming. I think it was like Amazon, but
Yeah, that one I would love to see them make a movie.
did you watch Twisted Metal?
Twisted Metal was a lot of fun.
Was it?
But Justin doesn't do cars
Oh,
I
that's
watched the
right.
first episode.
Hey.
I watched the first episode and I stopped.
because it was about cars.
I don't remember why I stopped. I like Sweet Tooth.
Now do you play video games with cars in them?
Not really. I say like
What
what
up?
like
So like what about
The Hot Wheels game. That's about it.
so like something like Twisted Metal, which is like it is a car based game, but it's like carnage. Like it is
I
just
I played the first one on PlayStation. I haven't played any of the anything
okay.
else.
Now I will say surprisingly, um, the video adaptations to movies or for TV so far of the ones that I've watched have gone really well.
Yeah.
Twisted Metal was great. Last of Us was really good. I've heard really good things about Fallout.
Fallout was awesome.
I haven't watched it yet, but one of the guys I work with, he said it was really good.
Yeah, it was.
Trying to think of what other video games they've done TV shows out of, but
I'm trying to think of other ones that make good movies too.
because I mean, certain movies, like I think that's why like Super Mario Brothers worked better as an animated movie, because that movie, like that, you can't really do that live action. Like
See,
I think it worked better as the animated one,
I was just thinking that with Ratchet and Clank.
Oh
and they
yeah.
That would
did.
work really well as an animated movie.
Didn't they do
Didn't
an
they?
animated? Didn't
Yeah.
they do an
I don't
animated
know.
Ratchet and Clank movie,
Yeah, I thought they
or
did.
like Banjo Kazooie?
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Banjo-Kazooie,
see how
yeah.
Banjo Kazooie would work as live action.
Right.
Um,
That'd be terrifying.
I
Same
would.
with like Medieval Resurrection.
Medieval
That'd be
Resurrection.
good. Yeah,
Oh,
Medieval.
yeah, that
That
dude. Yeah,
that'd
yeah,
be a good animated movie. I
yeah,
don't know how it would work live action.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, now that they're doing more Super Mario stuff, I wouldn't mind seeing like Donkey Kong get his own like standalone movie, like doing like a DK64. You
Hmm.
know,
Bringing in the family.
yeah,
I'd like to see like Conker's Bad Fur Day as like a the Adult Swim
yeah.
adaptation or
That
something.
would be a fun like 6 episode like 30-minute series. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I could handle a full 2 hours of that at
Yeah.
once. Like stretch it out over 6 to 8 episodes.
Yeah, yeah. Nice chunks.
I was thinking some of the older video games too, like Earthworm Jim
Yeah.
or
Well,
Booger Man.
Booker Man.
That'd be a good movie. Take a flick.
Battletoads could be a fun series.
Hmm.
Now that
Yeah.
X-Men 97 is back, like in kind of that style, like that'd be. I'm just trying to think. You know what might work as a live action that I know they had a pretty successful anime on Netflix is Castlevania.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Castlevania could probably work. Metroid maybe could work as a live action.
Sure.
Devil
Yeah.
May Cry
Okay.
could work out too.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't tried to do a Grand Theft Auto. I mean, I know there's not really a story with Grand
That's
Theft.
It's
just
called Crank.
I was gonna say that's the news.
The news.
So, all right. Well, has anybody watched anything that we want to talk about?
Oh, well, Fallout was excellent. But
Okay. All
if
right.
you want to hear my deep thoughts on that, listen to episode 2 of We Do Go to Ravenholm. We talk about it for like 40 minutes. So, but I also watched the new Kong Godzilla film.
Okay.
All right.
I enjoyed it. We saw it on Screen X, which was pretty wild. It was the first time I ever saw anything on Screen X.
Is
And
that the weird like 3D or the wraparound one?
yeah. Have you seen anything on there?
No,
Not yet.
I feel like I would get motion sickness.
It
That's
really
why
isn't. Oh,
that's
go
why
ahead.
Jess doesn't want to go because she has the motion sickness thing too.
I
Yeah, I get
see.
it. I get it at the IMAX, and if I'm sitting in the backseat of a car.
Sure. I guess I did get a little sense of that, like as if I was watching like the 3D IMAX with the motion, but it wasn't super crazy. And like they do some cool stuff where like if it's like just people talking or like if it's in a darkened area, they'll kill the other two projectors and then just bring it back to like cinematic mode. And so it's like there's a lot of like it changes often. It's neat. It really is.
Hmm.
I thought like, the exit signs would get annoying because at first you're like, well, it projects right over everything, but it just blends right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know it's really high on the list to go see, but um I think we're gonna end up seeing Fall Guy before we see. I don't know. I really want to see King Kong, so maybe I'll force the wife to go see it like this weekend or something. I don't know. Force. She wants it. She probably wants to see it more than I do. I went and saw Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
How
Yeah,
was
you
that?
talked about that on the last one.
Oh, okay. Did I?
Oh
All
yeah, we
right.
did talk about it.
I watched a series on Apple TV called it was the completely made up misadventures of Dick Turpin.
Okay.
It has Noel Fielding from the It Crowd, or
Yeah, IT
is it
crowd.
IT Crowd or It Crowd? I
It's
can never remember.
IT.
IT Crowd, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it's a really bizarre kind of like steampunk is not the right word because like it's set in like sort of like 1800s, but like not modern, but I don't know, it's weird. Like it's like they're retelling a story about this like highwayman called, well, not called, named Dick Turpin, who was like the gentlemanly one. I don't know, but like apparently over the time of people talking about highwaymen like Robin Hood and people like that, like this guy is really famous in England, but like most of everything that they say he's done was never actual something that happened. Like his whole life has taken on this like grand adventure since he died, and that was part of the show. It was fun. I mean, if you like British TV, it's worth watching.
Yeah, who doesn't like British TV?
So,
All right.
okay, we seem to have lost
Hello.
Jared. Oh, there he is.
There's back.
Back?
There
Hello?
you go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. My headset died. Let
Oh,
me
okay.
go get a cord. Sorry. I'll re-listen for your review of
Of Dick Turpin.
Of Dick
yeah.
Turpin.
Yeah.
Okay. You started a new show. Why don't you talk about that real quick? Give us a quick breakdown of that.
Okay, so if you head on over to Sid Entertainment System on YouTube, you can check out our latest endeavors, or you can just subscribe. It's we do go to Ravenholm. We are audio and video, and it is a podcast with Jamie and Chris about video games, video game news, any kind of whatever we're happening to be into at the moment. The channel is going to feature like gameplay footage and shit too. So, but hopefully, we'll stay consistent with it. And this is kind of like to just talk all about video games.
Is this in the Smashland family?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I actually inserted an ad for Media Pod Smash in the second episode right away.
Nice.
All right. I guess something that I do a very poor job of is like reminding people to go look at for Pop Culture Roulette on Facebook or Instagram. We have an email address, but I wouldn't bother with that because I don't remember the last time I've checked that email address.
We might want
Uh,
to check that more often. I think we do get like some useful things in there every once in a
And
while.
okay. Um,
I mean, I even checked the email address for the non-existent podcast.
I think you're supposed to be doing something with Anchor soon. You have to like confirm your identity.
yeah, we need to talk about that when we're done. So the easiest way to get a hold of us and the way that you guaranteed to get feedback or response is Facebook or Instagram. I will respond to those pretty quickly. So if you have a bracket topic that you would like us to cover, hit us up. Or if you just want us to talk about a topic in general, so I don't have to build a bracket, just hit us up on either of those two. So I guess if you're Uwe Boll, remember, stupid never walks alone.
Comic books have been around for almost a century, And in the last 2 decades, we've finally gotten to see many of these characters brought to life in movies and on TV. On the Moving Panels podcast, we discuss movies and TV shows based on, inspired by, and adapted from the world of comic books. Join me and my guests as we discuss both the good and the bad from Marvel, DC, and even some of the lesser-known comic book companies. Learn what is and isn't from the comics, as well as our nerdy review of the movie or show. New episodes drop every Monday, and you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. So join us for Moving Panels, and I'll see you on the other side of the page.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and listen to an 80s Flick Flashback podcast once in a while, you could miss it. Do you love movies of a certain age? Do you miss the days of VHS tapes, VCRs, and the video rental stores? Does the thought of another 80s movie being remade seem inconceivable? My name is Tim Williams. I'm the creator and host of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. On each episode, I'm joined by guest co-hosts to discuss one of the many movies released in the 1980s. We share our first-time watch memories, our favorite scenes, and even learn some behind-the-scenes stories about the cast and crew along the way. New episodes are released every other Friday on your favorite podcasting platform. So make like a tree, get out of here, and go listen to an excellent episode of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. The ad is over. Go home. Go.